Hello everyone. Okay, so we are audible. Hello everyone. Good evening to you all. My name is Jivesh, and I welcome you all to this official YouTube platform of Nimbus IAS. And just a second, let me check the voice first. Hello everyone. Good evening to you all. My name is Jivesh. All right, so we are good to go. So today's our another class for your this PCS mains. So as you know, in the previous classes we have gone through the various subject or the syllabus, various units of the syllabus of your not UPSC, the PCS mains examination, and I have discussed the history part with all of you. So there is one more important section in your main syllabus for the syllabus of the PCS, which is your Indian society. So the discussion that we are today going to have is going to be about the Indian society, the type of syllabus that has been mentioned in the mentioned by the Public Service Commission, or what are the facets of it, what kind of questions can be asked from it. And the one thing that I will basically discuss with all of you is that what are some important key things to keep in mind while writing the questions on Indian society, right? Indian society, first of all, is a very, what I would call it, is considered an easy section in GS-1 because it is easy to write answers in it, right? Indian society mein answer likhna, it is comparatively easy. It feels easy to every aspirant, but fetching good marks in Indian society need to have some key things that should be keep in mind in order to do that. So we will discuss that in this today's class. So before starting, I would like to tell you about this syllabus first, right? If you see a syllabus of the PCS, you will find that these are certain number of topics that have been mentioned. These are certain number of topics that has been mentioned in your syllabus of Indian society. So first of all, we can see salient features of Indian society. Direct questions will be asked from here. Indian society के features हो गए, diversity in India, right? Other than that, there is a part of syllabus which is focused upon the role of women and women organizations, right? We can break this entire, if we call it a paragraph, into different parts of syllabus. For example, like till here, it is basically role of women and women organization. After that, there is this second part in here, which is, just a second, let me just decrease its thickness a little. All right, so it is population and the associated issues. Population and the issues associated with it. It is definitely a part of Indian society. Third part is here, poverty and developmental issues. It is quite an dynamic topic from which questions have been asked repeatedly over the years. Poverty and the development, it is often a long debate as well, long time debate now as well. Other than that, there is this issue of urbanization, their problems and the remedies. So if you see it clearly, the first topic of the syllabus is direct. All right, so we do not need to discuss it in more detail. In the second topic of your syllabus, it is clearly evident that you are being basically asked here about the issues in the society, right? For example, like the urbanization, the poverty, the status of women in the society, or other than that, the population, right? So these are all the topics that you need to go through. Thirdly, there is globalization. All right, this is also a dynamic concept. Globalization, its impact on society, various section of societies. Many times it is seen that the question from the globalization is asked in such a way that you are being asked about the impact of globalization on various sectors. For example, like different aspects of life in any society, right? So globalization is an important topic. Other than that, social empowerment is there, communalism is there, right? It is also highlighting or a challenging factor in Indian society. Regionalism and secularism, it is also again important, right? So these are certain topics which are considered easy, जिनको easily what you can do, आप उसको आंसर कर सकते हैं. There is no such difficulty in answering them, but there are certain constraints जो आपको फॉलो करने पड़ते हैं in order to get good marks for those answers, right? नेक्स्ट अगर हम देखें तो लास्ट में देखिए ह्यूमन वैल्यूज पे, रोल ऑफ फैमिली, सोसाइटी, एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस इन inculcating values, lessons from the lives and teachings of great leaders and reformers, जो कि यहाँ पे सभी लोग ये मेंशन्स हैं, चार पांच लोग. तो इनको आपने एक एक करके जो है यहाँ पे देखना जरूरी होता है. जैसे गौतम बुद्धा, द फिलोसफी ऑफ गौतम बुद्धा, व्हाट वाज हिज व्यूज अबाउट द सोसाइटी. सिमिलर इज द केस फॉर महावीरा, फॉर कबीर, फॉर गुरु नानक, फॉर स्वामी विवेकानंद, ज्योतिबा फुले, ईश्वर चंद्र विद्यासागर and Mahatma Gandhi, because these were the people who are considered social reformers, समाज सुधारक में से in हिंदी समाज सुधारक इनको जो है कहा जाता था, because there were various social sins over the time that these legendary people have fought with, right? So the views of them about society is a direct question that you can be asked from any of these leaders that has been mentioned here. So this is how the syllabus of your society part looks like in your main syllabus, entire main syllabus. It is a part of GS-1. Now there is certain thing. I have also brought some questions as well. That what kind of questions are generally asked? Just a second. That what kind of questions are generally asked from your society part? For example, we will discuss them in detail. First of all, I want to discuss some of the important points with all of you. That what are some key things that you need to keep in mind while writing an answer on society. You can write this as well if you want to. For example, like first thing, start with a sociological definition, right? The IBC structure that you follow in the mains. The most important part of your answer is always the introduction of it, right? So you can introduce any question in any way, whatever you want to, but in society particularly, if it is possible, try to start with a theme-based narrative. For example, like I have brought some one or two example, like there is some particular phrases in Indian society, for example, like Indian society is characterized by pluralism and syncretism, right? So how beautiful is this line? So you can start your answer like this particular phrase. There are certain number of phrases for multiple type of questions for multiple topics as well. Other than that, according to sociologists, Indian society represents unity in diversity. Matlab, you just highlight the answers, right? You try to highlight the key features, not the answers, the key features of the Indian society in the intro part as well, right? So that is the first and foremost thing. If it is not possible somewhere because the questions is asked upon a situation, there are certain cases when the question from Indian society is asked from the case studies. So in that case, if you can use it, then it is good enough. If you can't, then only you can write whatever you want to in the introduction part. Secondly, the most important thing is that you have to understand the type of question properly. For example, the directive of the question. You might have an idea about the directives, like the questions that you are being asked. You have to identify what you have been asked for. For example, like examine, right? Critically examine, discuss. Everything has a different meaning. All right. For example, like in case of discuss, you have what you have to do. Discuss does not just mean that you will just discuss the question in a manner that whatever is being asked, you just write that into points. You follow IBC and you will get marks. No. That is not the right idea. Discuss simply means that you have to explain. You have to explain the question. You have to explain the context of the question. And in the end, you have to analyze as well. Analyze that question as well. That is how the question which is directed as discuss will be completed. Right? Similar is the case for some different thing. For example, like examine. Examine, if it is given in any question, the directive is given as examine. You have to identify the causes and consequences. That is the meaning of examine. So these are certain directives that you have to identify and you have to choose. This is one thing that plays a very important role in writing answers in Indian society part. All right. So very important. Thirdly, do not write random points, right? Random points like that you have been asked about some question like unity in diversity. So, or you have been asked about some impact on Indian society. For example, like you have been asked about the impact of globalization on Indian society. So what you will try to do that you have some 5, 6 or 8 points in your mind and you have just written the introduction. You are trying to write those points in random order, that this is the impact on this is the impact on that. But the most important thing, you have to identify the dimension. For example, like you write the political impact, right? You write the social impact, you write the economic impact, you write the environmental impact. Whatever the context of the question, it can be different for different questions. All right. So this is the third thing which plays an very important role. Cultural impact is there, constitutional impact is there, ethical impact is there. So the various dimensions of an answer in Indian society brings you more marks. It is quite evident from the previous practices that the students have been doing for so long now. So this is one thing that you have to keep in mind. It is very important and you should definitely know this, right? Fourth is always link with the constitution. Now this is very important. Now there are certain constitutional provisions given in order to protect the classes in the society. There is differentiation of class in the society, right? There is marginality, there is basically the wealthy people there as well. So constitution has given some protection at the every strata of society that we see in India. So it is basically the whole syllabus is about Indian society. So one very important thing that you must always do is that try to link the questions up. Now the context of the questions can be different for different each time. What you all have to do is to link the constitutional provision with the society. For example, like I brought one, like see, you have been asked a question upon secularism. So you can mention article 25 to 28, that secularism, the protection of the citizens of the state from 25 to 28, what are the provisions given under it? Definitely you will discuss the question on secularism, or whatever the context may be different. All right, that is the one thing that I would say ki different answers could have different context, but one thing that you always must do is that to link those constitutional provision with your context of the question. That is very important, right? For example, like article 14 to 30 fundamental right are the most important thing provided to every citizen in India. So in the societal context, how you will be able to link the constitutional provision or the fundamental right, for example, with the Indian society, that is one most very important thing that you must do. So it is again very important, right? Other than that, just a second, am I streaming or not? All right, it is okay. Okay, so this is the fourth point. On the fifth, there is this very important thing that you must do is that try to add the current examples, right? Try to add the current example. Current example means ki add current examples. Current example means like in most of the cases, for example, like questions like dowry or the domestic violence, we often try to bring in the examples before 2000s, right? Because it has reduced up to an extent. There are certain single or double digit cases in India still left, but in before 2000s, it used to be a major problem. But still, all you must do is to give as possible as the recent examples. Like for example, like NFHS, National Family Health Survey, you are being given in the syllabus that role of women and women organizations. You are being asked a question upon women. So the data about the women in the NFHS, about the women health or whatever the question of the context, population of women, all you can highlight it from there. Urbanization mission, you can give the example of the smart city mission. That is the most important scheme for the development of urban, basically the city centers in India, right? Thirdly, for example, like poverty. So there is this multi-dimensional poverty index that you can highlight every year. This index is basically concluded, and based upon it, you can remember some 2 or 4 recommendations of it, and you can highlight it in your answer. Next is like, for example, like woman I have already discussed, right? try to avoid pre-2000s answer, 2000 pre-2000s example. Try to give the as much possible as the recent examples that are taking place, or the various societal developments that are taking place. So that I think would be a good thing to do in our exam. All right. So this is one thing. Other thing that is basically demanded in society is to show the both sides. All right. You are being asked about the consequences. So you write positive consequences, negative consequences, impacts. You are being asked about impact. Try to inculcate different dimensions along with two different sides. That what are the positive impacts, what are the negative impacts of it. So this is something which is very important. Try to inculcate merits, demerits, opportunities, challenges, vice versa. All right. Do not just write your answer on a single frame that this is the question. The most easiest way to do is to write an answer is to write it into a random points. All right. So that is something which give you an idea about how to attempt the exam. You will not leave a question by using that thing. But ultimately, getting good marks in our exam is something which require something additional like the 5 or 6 points that I have discussed with you. So this is the one thing that you must do in order to get some half or a mark or half mark or a full mark extra than any others, right? So that is something which is very much required. Progressive and regressive trends, you must continuously be in touch of the current affairs. What are the progressive trends in Indian society? What are the how the status of women is getting upgraded, how the various developments are taking place in order to eradicate poverty or any other social issues. So that is something, the way you can inculcate the recent trends or the recent example, which will give you a fair idea or a fair advantage over the others. All right. And one most important thing that Indian society, that an answer in Indian society demands from you is that, so basically there are a lot of features of the Indian society as well. But the most important thing that a civil servant is supposed to do is to get rid of the sins that are still present in the society. As a civil servant, you will also have to do some work which is basically regarding overcoming the challenges that basically pertains to a particular society in a particular state or in a particular region or at the national level. So one very important thing that you are supposed to write in your society answers is a way forward, right? If it is not like this, if you are not being asked to give an way forward in your answer, you still have to do one, right? You still have to give the way forward in order to, but all I wanted to say that your answer should look like that you are supposed to change the system, change this societal thing, whatever is taking place. If it is a challenge that is referred in the question, then it is very good. Then you are going to give the way forward. But if it is not asked, then only you will also give an forward-looking conclusion, right? So it is very important. Always give a forward-looking conclusion. Don't just stop it where you have completed your facts. Always give a forward-looking conclusion in the Indian society part. So these are certain important points, 6 or 7 points that I wanted to discuss with all of you. So I hope you will keep them in mind. And there are certain questions as well that I have brought, that what kind of questions can be asked from Indian society part, like you see. So there is this question that discuss the salient features of Indian society that make it unique. All right. And secondly, that is how does diversity act both as strength and challenges in India? So there is this two-way questions that is being asked here, and this question is also lies in two parts. There is this first part of the question in which you are being directly asked about the salient features. So it is the most important thing. You can write as many as possible as you remember, right? So it is quite easy. Secondly, how does diversity act both as strength and challenge? So you have to identify each of them. You write the strength of the diversity in India. You write the challenges associated with the diversity that is present in India, and overall you can conclude the answer with a forward-looking conclusion, right? Like for example, like a way forward, that what better could be there in the society, right? So there is one more question. I have brought some 6 or 8 questions for you from the different part of your syllabus. Secondly, there is this Indian society is a complex mosaic of diversities. All right. It is a complex mosaic of diversities. Examine this statement with reference to religion, language, ethnicity, and regional identity. Now, first you have to explain what is this complex mosaic of diversities, right? Secondly, you are given 4 things here. First is you have to explain this with reference to religion. Secondly, with reference to diversity in language. Third is with reference to the diversity in ethnicity, and fourth is with reference to diversity in the regional identity of the people in India. So it is quite clear from here that you have to answer each part in a separate manner. All right. So do not just write one complete paragraph about it. Right. Identify each and everything and write 2-3 points or 4 points if possible, whatever the space you are being availed there. As many as point you can basically put into that space, that would be beneficial for you or good for you. All right. Thirdly, there is this question: evaluate the changing role of women in India. Right. So this is quite an easy statement. The one very important thing that you can do here is that to inculcate, for example, like NHFS, National Family Health Survey data, the recent NHFS data. And secondly, what role have women organizations played in empowering women in post-independent India? So you can highlight the role of the self-help groups, which is the most important thing here, right? Write about the role of self-help groups, and if possible, try to give examples from your state as well. For example, like the performance of the self-help groups in Punjab state, or any better example from any other state, you can inculcate that as well. But it is good if you answer it from your state or your surroundings well as the as example in this particular part, right? So it is quite an easy or direct question. Thirdly, fourth question: population growth in India has become a serious developmental concern, right? So it is directly given on your syllabus. Population growth, how it is a serious developmental concern? Write at least 4 or 5 points about it. Secondly, discuss the associated issues and suggest suitable measures to address them. So there are again 2 separate parts. So this question will be basically broken in three different parts. First, you have to give the reasons why population growth in India has become a developmental concern. Second is that what are the issues associated with it, and thirdly, what suggestive measures could be there, or you can basically suggestive measure you can give in order to eradicate this problem, right? So there is 3 part in question, and you have to identify each part separately. Keep it in mind. Question number next is question number 5th. For example, like despite high economic growth, poverty continues to persist in India. All right. This is a question on poverty. So we see that India is the 5th largest economy, or so many things in there, right? But still there is this issue of poverty that is prevalent in India. Analyze the structural causes of poverty and evaluate government interventions. So what are the structural causes of it, right? You just need to write down the structural causes which are responsible for poverty, and what are the various government interventions. For example, like there must be some constitutional provision in order to eradicate poverty. There must be some government programs, government schemes, government initiatives, recent government schemes and government initiatives, for example, like various loan waivers and the various financial institutions, the loans, the availability of loans, or the concessional loans that the banks provide under the various government schemes. So these are the things that you need to mention here. All right. Next is like question number 6, that is urbanization in India has followed a distorted path. Yes. All right. Discuss the major problems associated with rapid urbanization and suggest remedial measures. All right, direct question from urbanization, that why urbanization in India has followed a distorted path. That means that urbanization in India is not a planned urbanization, right? You see the cities are becoming crowded, the air quality is becoming poor, the quality of life is degraded, the environmental concern is also there. So there are a lot of issues in the urban regions. So why did this happen? This is the first part. All right. Secondly, discuss the major problem associated with rapid urbanization. All these problems you need to identify. 4 I have given you 4 or 6 problems that you can mention here with all the possible examples, right? And suggest remedial measures. This is the most important thing. You have to have, I've said you have to give a way forward in a question. In this particular question, you are asked to give a way forward. Even if you are not asked to do so, you have to give one, particularly when writing answers in the Indian society part. All right. So that is the thing, and these are some concern or some particular questions, or you would say that the syllabus and some important golden rules, I would say, golden rules in writing the answers for your society part. So that is all I wanted to discuss with you, and I hope you understood this thing, and that is it. There are a lot of syllabus still left to discuss, and we will again came to the platform in order to share that as well with all of you. And till next time, keep studying and keep watching us.